Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Daily Audio Diet. This is number 150. I've been doing these since June, and it's always fun to come up with a topic. I have a running list of topics that I add to and subtract from when I use them, and other items that come up possibly through comments of those of you who participate, and also from things that come out in the news, or in the case of today, an email. And it was Rhino announcing some new releases, and one of them was a Grand Deluxe set for Tales of Topographic Oceans by Yes, $125 set. That album isn't one of my favorites on there. There are a few songs that I like, and possibly if it were a 1 LP set versus 2, it might have been a more desirable album to me, but I probably won't be getting that one because it's not one of my top Yes albums. But I also noticed a very interesting one announced, and that was a 2 LP version of The Power Station. Now, if you don't know, the Power Station was a rock pop music supergroup from the 80s and 90s, which had in it singer Robert Palmer, former Chic drummer Tony Thompson, Duran Duran members John Taylor and Andy Taylor. Some like it hot. So it was one of these supergroups that was comprised of people from other bands that got together. Some like it hot. And so Rhino is celebrating the 40th anniversary of the band and their debut album, and they're putting out a 2 LP gatefold of the remastered album, and they're also putting out a 4 CD set, including the remastered album, along with unreleased live performances, as well as Live Aid recordings and raw instrumentals and remixes. But as it relates to the 2 LP set, what's interesting about it is it shows it and says right there in black and white, 2 LP black recycled vinyl. That caught my eye. So let's talk about recycled vinyl. Well, first of all, I give Rhino a lot of credit for being upfront about how they ordered the product from the pressing plant, because using recycled vinyl is often an option when people are placing orders, or they can get pure PVC, which is brand new vinyl. Recycled vinyl is going to be cheaper, and that is what has been what they call reground. They call it regrind. The product itself is regrind from records that have been thrown out because of defects or first runs or testing the press or what have you, as well as the runoff that comes when they cut the edge around the record. And this all goes into a machine and gets reground, but before a record goes in, the whole center label area is punched out. So you get none of that potential paper fill that used to happen in the 70s when they just reground the whole record. The old ones in the reject bins or whatever, the whole thing just got reground, and you would get pieces of paper into the actual pressing that you had. It was quite a mess. It was around the time of the, quote, oil crisis in the mid-70s when that became very popular to use as a cost-cutting measure, because the price of PVC had jumped significantly because of the amount of petroleum that's used to produce PVC. But regrind these days, the quality is much better in that regard. But we must remember this also is material that has gone through the heating process on the press. So it is not in quite the same state as it was when it was pure vinyl coming out of the bags or whatever method it was delivered in. And so be aware that it could be a tad noisier, because it is in fact a modified PVC which has been transformed because of the heating process. It is usually reasonable It is not excessively loud, but it isn't as clean and pure and quiet typically as brand new vinyl. So it's just a matter of being aware of that. And as a matter of fact, I may pick this one up just to be able to test that. Now, the price on this one is $36.98, which is $3 cheaper than normally a 2LP would be $39.98 typically. So maybe a savings of about $3. I'm sure, of course, that Rhino got a discount on making the LPs using recycled vinyl, because when you're putting together your order, that option lowers the price of the raw materials. So interesting to see that someone is using it and saying so. So again, kudos to Rhino for that, because God knows others could be using recycled vinyl and we have no idea of that. And in fact, being able to give you a little lower price in order to give you that particular caveat for this kind of pressing. So that's it for today's Daily Audio Diet, and we'll catch you tomorrow.